Well, Mayor Wiza, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. As promised, spring is here. Snow has melted. You had a few issues with the flooding as far as those things went, but nothing you hadn't seen before. Nothing you couldn't
No,
manage.
it seems like every winter, spring comes, and then the snow melts and it turns to water. So we have issues periodically. I know it's spring is here because the complaints have shifted from plowing to potholes. That's usually a sure sign that spring is on the way. But we were very proactive. We know every spring that snow melts and it creates problems. When we realized the amount of snow, the record snowfall we had in February, we knew that there were some potential problems if there was going to be a quick, rapid snow melt. So what we did is we had crews out for a couple of weeks beforehand, clearing storm drains. Lots of citizens stepped up, cleared the storm drains around their house to give that water somewhere to go. We also then had crews moving snow from the problem areas so there would be less melting going on there because there's less snow. We didn't get off scot-free. There were still a fair amount of problems in the city, but we didn't experience the flooding quite as bad as some of our neighboring communities did. And that isn't meant to belittle anything that did happen in the city because there were some significant flooding issues individually in some neighborhoods. But I think it would have been a lot worse had our crews not been as proactive as they were.
And just quickly for those residents, I mean, whether they are in Stevens Point or in Plover, obviously Stevens Point more your primary concern, but there's got to be resources and things available for them as well. If they did have problems, do you have any information on how they can access those?
Well, so we were out with our crews assisting other communities wherever we could. If there was life-threatening situations, we're there. We would not hesitate to help any of our neighbors, and we did. But for those people who had experienced some flood damage due to the flooding and melting, the county emergency management has asked people to document it and then call 211, which is the United Way hotline, I think, 211, and that they'll ask you to document that. If we reach a certain threshold, there is some individual federal relief that could be available. Now, it's not going to be much. It's not going to make everything right, but it's something, and it's better than nothing. And if we get enough of the cumulative damages, we would qualify for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you document it 211 and then see what happens from there.
Right, and the county emergency management personnel will let people know if we do intend to, or eventually qualify for that.
Absolutely. Of course, the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, a cornerstone of this community. We've got a couple of things to talk about there. First off, you've been getting the streets, the sweepers are out, everything, trying to make everything look nice because UWSP, it's a big event coming up, and it's an anniversary event. It's going to be something that's really good for the city.
I've heard something about this. There's a little quiz contest or something. No, of course I'm talking about the world's largest trivia contest. I personally have been playing. This will be 42 years for me. Started when I was 10 years old, so you can figure out the math there. But this year will mark the 50th trivia, which is a huge deal. Half a century old. That's about 1/8 as old as Jim Oliva, one of the guys who writes it. Excuse me. But this year's going to be more significant. Being the 50th, there's all sorts of very cool things planned. We can't get into a lot of those, but I can tell you that some special events are in the works to make Stevens Point even more significant in the global scene. Trivia, as you probably know, is worldwide. We have players and teams from other countries that play every year. We had a team from Vatican City. We had teams in Afghanistan, Italy, and it's really kind of something that puts Stevens Point on the map and has for now generations. So we want to acknowledge that and all the hard work that goes into it with Jim Oliva, John Eckendorf, a new staff every year at 90 FM. It really showcases UWSP, WWSP 90 FM, and the city of Stevens Point. So we're very proud to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the event. I mean, for Stevens Point, it's the social event on the calendar. You look forward to seeing people. It's a family reunion, and not only that for you, it's also something that brings in $1 or $2 every year.
Well,
right?
it does, and it's never been about that for me. But I can tell you that being in this chair now, it certainly is. The impact that those thousands of trivia players have on our economy for the couple weeks leading up to it, and especially Trivia Weekend, is something that we can't really compare to anything else. I was talking with some local grocery stores, and Trivia Weekend is the second highest sale day of the year, or time of the year, second only to Thanksgiving. It beats Christmas. It beats Halloween. It beats Easter, Mother's Day. It's insane the amount of people that come here, and then all those people need places to stay, fuel for their cars, food to eat, everything that someone needs for a weekend. And you have 12,000 roughly players coming in, purchasing those things, and staying in our community. It's pretty significant.
We look forward to seeing what surprises you have in store for us there for Trivia Weekend. Trivia 5-0, if I remember correctly.
Trivia 5-0,
right?
based off of the Hawaii 5-0 theme. So we're going to, I don't know, book 'em Oz? Is that a thing?
I think it will be. The Ventures coming to town to perform, confirm, deny?
Well, I can't really let that cat out of the bag. Are there any still alive?
I don't know. It's been a while since I worked in Oldies Radio.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a karaoke contest. Whoever can sing the theme from Hawaii 5-0 best will win.
There we go. We'll start with that. We'll start with that, and we'll go from there. We'll see what it evolves into.
All right.
Again, we make things happen here on Mayor's Monday.
There you go.
Other group here in Stevens Point that was making things happen. Speaking of hotel stays, economic
right.
impact, something that your city had to put together in about 72 hours. The Division III National Hockey Championships. Talk about what that means for Stevens Point as well.
We were pretty excited about that. First of all, congratulations to Tyler and the whole UWSP hockey team for their championship, bringing home the hardware to Stevens Point. We appreciate that. But you're right. The logistics involved in hosting an NCAA Division III championship game like that took a lot of work. And we thought maybe there was a possibility because we know that our boys are good, and we expect them to win, so we go with that. But putting those things together was a logistical issue that our parks director and the staff over at the KB Willard Arena took care of. Convention and Visitors Bureau was very big in assisting, putting those things together, making sure that we had adequate facilities for everybody, and that we could handle everything from the parking to the dining to the lodging. All of those things needed to come into play, and they did a really good job of putting it together. We didn't exactly put it together in 72 hours. We were planning a couple weeks earlier on the condition that we're going to get this thing. But fabulous turnout, exciting game, overtime. I was there, and it was a nail biter. Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and just in talking with the folks at UWSP leading up to this, because we even credentialed ourselves for it and covered this event because this is something that has been so unique. Not only did you get the chance to host a national championship at the NCAA level, you also had a team that had a chance to win it on home ice as well, and that's something too
and undefeated.
Let's not forget that as well.
Right.
And that's something that this city is going to remember for a while.
Oh yeah. I've been talking with the chancellor to see if we can't do something special for the team to recognize the accomplishments of that UWSP Pointer hockey team, because we're all very proud.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from your perspective, when you got that call, you said you've been preparing for a couple of weeks, but when you heard from the UWSP office that they had been putting this in the back of your mind, what does that say for your city as well? How do you react to that?
Well, it's one of those things where you have to think about, great, we're hosting an NCAA championship game. That's awesome. What does it take? What do we need to do? We need to think about everything from, again, gas stations and parking and all of the logistical things that you normally wouldn't think of. Everybody is kind of like, woohoo, we're in the championship. But now you have to accommodate all these people. Yeah. And we're going to be doing it again this summer. We have, at Century World, they're going to be hosting the Junior Girls Golf Championship. Literally hundreds of people from around the world coming to Stevens Point. We'll have the Golf Channel here, I believe. I think ESPN. So we want to give ourselves another chance to show off. So we're getting things ready for that. But I got to tell you, the logistics of that NCAA championship game fall solidly on the shoulders of our parks director, Tom Schrader. And on a sad note, Tom is going to be retiring after almost 37 years with the city. He's going to be retiring May 1st, hanging up his, actually, he was a hockey player. He's going to hang up his skates. He's still sticking around the area,
Sure.
but those are going to be some big shoes to fill because Tom has made connections over the years, and those connections help someone plan an event like this in 72 hours. He knows what to do. He's got the experience. He's got the connections. You make a few phone calls and get those balls rolling, and you're in good shape. So we're going to miss Tom. Stay tuned. There'll be some public information and events
Yeah.
to help Tom celebrate his retirement.
Why not go out like that, right?
Sure, right?
It's-
I thought he might go out on the 4th of July so he could go out with a bang.
Well,
right? With the fireworks.
That's true. There is that as well. But he, it's something that he will certainly remember. That is for sure.
And we'll remember him.
Absolutely. One more thing then before we let you go, the county and the city talking about the land swap. You had a meeting last week, public input session, because this is going to affect not only people that use city services but county services as well.
Right.
Take the temperature of the room. How do people feel about this potential land swap and moving City Hall?
So it was a good first meeting. We just kind of threw the idea out there to see what everybody was thinking, and that's important because it affects a lot of different people, and we want to make sure and get everybody's input. So we're making a list of pros and cons. It was a pretty full house last Thursday night, and we got some good input. The video is available right now if anyone wants to watch it on stevenspoint.com. We recorded the whole meeting, so you can see that. Some of it might be a little hard to hear because we didn't have amplification for the audio, but we're looking at the possibility of having a new county facility because they need one, building that outside of the downtown area, kind of on the outskirts of the city on an open space, which saves them 15 to 20% on a possible $100 million project. The city is also looking at building a new city hall. The council voted on that a while ago, and by building it, we're probably looking at 7 to 8 million. If we move into the annex from the county, we'd have a building that's basically municipal government ready. So there'd just be some remodeling costs to make it usable for us. Along with things like the sheriff's department, if they're going to build a new sheriff's department and jail, we would have that property available to repurpose, however. And the Lincoln Center, ADRC, which is owned by the city but completely run by the county, along with the library, which is also the building's owned by the city but completely run by the county, cleaning up those kind of ownership details. Just something we're throwing out there to see what things look like. So if people have comments, call my office, call the county executive. We want to hear what you think.
How long are you going to be taking those public comments yet then?
Oh, we'll probably do it for another couple months at least.
And then any timeline on a final decision yet? Because again, this is all extremely preliminary. This is the doodling in the margin of the paper when you're in class.
I wouldn't even go that far. I'd say it's written on a napkin.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just an idea we tossed around because the county already has plans to build a new facility here downtown. They've got the plans made up. The council has already voted to build a new city hall downtown. So this is just something that came up relatively recently, just kind of spitballing ideas. So we want to act rather quickly on a yes or no, because we're not going to pursue it if it's a no. Mm-hmm. If it's a yeah, maybe this could work. If we were sure to have public transportation that was able to get people out there, or if we were able to address some of the concerns of the judges for security and those sorts of things, because we're not going to pursue it if the answer is just plain old no.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep the public comments open and keep listening for updates on that as well. Again, Mayor, we always appreciate the time. Good luck with the Trivia 5-0 coming up here in just a couple of weeks, and we'll look forward to everything else that comes out of the city as we turn the page over to summer.
Great. We'll see you soon. Thanks.